Hello and welcome to the first episode of Breakdowns, where we talk about building portfolios, approaching art, design, and a bunch of other things. In today's episode, we talk about the importance of a kick-ass portfolio page and how you can go about making one that really stands out. Watch till the very end to get all the tips you need to stand out as a pro and also figure out what you need to do apart from designing these portfolio pages. So I've done a fair number of freelance gigs over the years, and I've always found it imperative to kind of go ahead and build a summary page of sorts at the end of that particular gig. Nip it in the bud then and there. I mean, I'm sure as soon as the gig is done, nobody really wants to linger on it even more right after. But at the end of the day, there are so many merits of doing so and ways by which you could create more opportunities to get gigs down the line. In today's day and age, an online portfolio becomes a very critical tool for any designer or creator for that matter. Of course, there are many such platforms where you can go about showcasing your work, Behance being one of them. So as obvious as it may seem, here are 2-3 things that show why having a portfolio page, probably on Behance or some other platform of the sort, is important. One, it enables you to showcase your skills. It becomes easy for you to then share these pages with potential clients down the line. If you've done gigs very similar to what the new requirement of this particular client is, you could just kind of forward these pages and show what you've done in the past to just kind of gain their confidence a little bit. Another is, of course, it provides a lot of credibility. When somebody comes on your portfolio, when they see a bunch of different pages, they see not just the variety, but even the nuances and the detail and the depth by which you've gone into each project. They suddenly gain a little bit more confidence in your skills and they want to invest time with you so that you all could work collaboratively on whatever the ask may be. And of course, that invariably it attracts more opportunities, which at the end of the day is the end game with a task like this. More importantly, it could also help you interact with other creators in the same space, collaborate with them, learn from them, get a few tips and advices from them. So having knocked that out of the way, how exactly can you approach the design of your portfolio page? I personally have a fixed structure that I normally adhere to, a few tweaks here and there in terms of what comes before or after depending on what the gig is. For example, if it's a logo design, then it's A, B, C, D, whereas if it's a video creation or an explainer video production type of gig, then it's probably A, C, B, F. So you get the idea. There's a way by which we could kind of play with the permutation combination of these different pieces, and then accordingly you could present your particular gig in that fashion on the portfolio page.
अरे कहना क्या चाहते हो?
So just to make it a little easier to understand so that I can stay away from talking in terms of algebra and variables and whatnot, I'm showing you a portfolio page that I had created for Design Crescendo, right? So going through it really quickly, something that's really important at the get-go is to have a strong cover frame or a cover frame that depicts exactly what this particular project is about. So a little bit of information. Of course, this is a design agency, so all the different parameters and aspects that get covered in that. There's a tiny write-up that makes it a little more obvious about what this project actually ensued and what the expectation was, as we can see over here. Now, in this particular project, at least, I'm focusing more on how we went about building the logo and the thought process and rationale behind that, which is why it has been structured this way. So right after that, we kind of show a little bit about the past, what was the rationale behind how we eventually arrived at the final logo, what were all the different explorations. And this kind of gives an idea to the client that, yeah, you're willing to put in the yards and try out all possible variations, eventually arriving at what works best for the client. So yeah, I mean, initially we tried something with the nib being of most importance, and then we realized, okay, that kind of seems like we're more like writers, and this tripod apparently didn't really work out over there, which is why a few permutation combinations got in the brush, then got in the lens of a camera, and then eventually this is what we arrived at. So once you're done with the brief and evolution, you kind of focus into the design itself. So a little bit of information of how we arrived at that, like I mentioned earlier, the pen nib, the camera lens, the paintbrush, how a mix of all of those is why we put this logo together in this fashion. So I mean, considering how this is a branding exercise, of course, there are some aspects in terms of how it would look in the website and things like that, which is why a few mocks here and there kind of help put that in place as well. So once that's done, you ideally want to focus on the different attributes that you use to put this together. For example, the color palette. Of course, over here, Crescendo, all purple, my favorite color, which is why there's only one, but it could have a primary, a secondary, a tertiary, whatever it may be, in different percentages based on the compositions that you intend to take forward for that particular project. Other attributes could include the font. Here, of course, I've only put one font weight, but the idea is to kind of show a display of multiple things, especially if it is used in different places. Of course, in the website, the header would have one particular font size, whereas the content inside would be of a slightly different font size or font weight and things like that. So here's an opportunity basically for you to showcase all those different attributes and then notch it up furthermore and see how exactly those brand aspects can be taken for other components in this branding exercise. For example, the business card, the icons that get used, the mailers that would get sent across, and how exactly all these different components fall in place for the same and things like that. So once we're done extending the showcase across all these different facets and making very clear what this brand exactly is all about and how it could be projected onto these different blocks, the idea is then to kind of further give a little bit of information of how exactly this logo was constructed, right? Some deconstruction, so to say, where we talk about the rationale behind each of these different components that put it together. Of course, here, because it's a logo design, this is what we're doing, but the deconstruction could be different depending on what that particular gig or project is, right? Whether it's, if it's video making, for example, then you kind of want to break down the different aspects of how we shot the footage, whereas this is how we did the animation, these are the different aspects of the assets used over there, etc. So yeah, that's largely how you could go about building a particular Behance portfolio page. And I can show you a bunch of such pages basically, which I've done over the past, right? Just to kind of show you how that construct holds through across different gigs. So this, for example, is a video-based project. And you can see how it's a very similar construct to the same, where you have a cover page, where you have a little bit of an overview about what that task actually demanded or required, and then a little bit about the structure of how we put the video together in terms of starting with live action, having animation in the middle, ending with live action again, how exactly the script flowed to kind of cover all these different aspects within a 2-minute piece, because at the end of the day, it is an HBN video. Little bit of a breakdown of all the different art, icons, elements. So this is the parallels that I could draw with the logo deconstruction in the Design Crescendo portfolio page, for example, right? In terms of the art style, and then how we went about the editing and things like that. Of course, I'll delve into these ones when we discuss video portfolios in more detail, but this is just to give you a quick overview and an idea of how a single structure with slightly different permutation combinations can be used for multiple projects, but more importantly, why it is important to build such portfolio pages. So now that we've seen how exactly we could go about constructing a portfolio page, what are the things that you need to do apart from that? Because at the end of the day, the job isn't done as yet. So all these platforms where we normally showcase our projects like Behance, Indiefolio, Pinterest, etc., they all have a mechanism by which we upload our content, right? One section of which expects us to fill all these keywords which will enable people to find our pages. So of course, one aspect of how we actually intend to use the portfolio page is to share it with potential clients ourselves. But the other way by which opportunities could come our way is organically. If people are actually able to search for your content online and potentially creates opportunities for you to interact and collaborate with them, like I mentioned earlier. So making sure that you're stuffing your pages with the right keywords so that they're found on these different platforms becomes a little important. The other thing is, of course, to make sure all the peripheries that house your page together are also put in place. So, of course, your projects sit on the home page, but there are other aspects of the home page, say like your display picture, your header picture, the description about who you are or what kind of services you provide and things like that. Filling in all this, making sure it is up to date becomes a little important to show that level of professionalism and to give an all-round perspective to anybody who actually ends up on your page. So make sure to add all possible links like your social media accounts, your websites, your contact details, and things like that, so that clients and other collaborators have a way to reach out to you. Then, of course, as hard as this may be for a bunch of us, it becomes very important to start showcasing your work, promoting your work, sharing the link of your portfolio page and project pages with other people, so that the word gets around that, you have these skills and you're looking out for potential clients and opportunities in a space like this. As hard as it may be, muster the courage and let the world know that you've done something you're proud of. So yeah, that's largely it in terms of the importance of portfolio and project pages, how you could go about approaching and constructing yours, and what you can do after that. I hope this helped you with your hustle. If it did, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next episode. Peace out.